Hello everybody once again, and welcome back to the Gaming Pantry, broadcasting to you live wherever you may be, whatever you're doing and whatever is going on in your world at the moment. We hope you are safe and well. Welcome you once again to the tNb Gaming Podcast here on YouTube. I don't know what I'm talking about. I've completely fluffed that up. I'll start again when I really can't be bothered. It's a tNb Gaming Podcast here on YouTube. Thank you very much indeed for tuning in. This is now episode 7. Some may say lucky number 7, but given the lineup tonight, I very much doubt that. We're quite crammed in here tonight. We have 4 panelists and myself hosting this evening's rendezvous, and we're going to be going through a couple of subjects which I hope we'll find interesting, as we always do. Also, what we've been playing lately, and anything else we can cram into the next 70 to 75 minutes. First of all, I'd like to bring all the guys in individually, let them say hello, everybody, and see who's here. First of all, back with us again tonight after, I think, possibly a week off, Pete Fighter. Pete, hi.
Hello.
Was it a week off?
Is it a week or is it 2 weeks? I think it's 2 weeks off.
2 weeks off, all right. And you all right, are you?
Yeah, not bad, you?
I'm okay. The lockdown... Oh, I say you and me obviously still out of work at the moment, so I say the lockdown treating you well, but it's one of those things, isn't it, at the moment?
Yeah, it's really no good. I was just saying I can't wait until I've got a week off in June so I can not leave the house.
I'm looking forward to some time off, to be honest with you, but it's the way it is. I'll come back in a minute, Pete, with about what we've been doing recently. He's back again. It's the man with the arms, turning out some great content on YouTube, as always. It's good Aldino Plays. It's Rob. Hi, Rob.
Hello, Bear. It's a pleasure to join you on this momentous occasion where we draw a level with how many Police Academy films there are.
But weren't there 8?
You said 7 last week.
I don't know. I can't remember.
They made a new one since.
I'm sure they made another one. Yeah.
Quick production. They knock about no time.
Either way, as I said last week, nobody's laughing. Full stop. Anyway, so they never did in the first place. I'm very pleased to say back for a second visit, and hopefully with all his animals in tow, is Rollercore. Eddie, hi.
Got as many animals around me as we have guests on the show tonight.
And your animals are probably more good looking than the guests we have on tonight.
Definitely so. Definitely over this side anyway, yeah.
And how are you? How's everything over there?
Yeah, everything's good. Everything's good. I just was laughing to myself when he was talking about the weak coughs. And the current climate that we've got at the moment. Yeah. I could, make a few jokes of that one.
Rob, I forgot to ask how you were, mate, so I do apologise.
That's all right. I'm the complete opposite of you and Pete. I can't wait to go back to work because, as you guys know, I work outdoors. So I spend 4 days outdoors, and normally one of my 2 days off outdoors and 1 day indoors. Now it's the other way round, and I can't wait to go food shopping because I get out. Yeah. But a bit of cabin fever setting in, but I'm all right.
And with the weather being so good as well, it's probably not the best time for people to be stuck indoors.
I game with the windows open.
Do you?
Yeah, game with the windows open because the weather's nice.
You could move that's why you can move it outside, couldn't you, really? I don't know.
It could be frowned upon.
Yeah, sitting in your front garden playing on the Xbox, probably not the best way to do things.
Just don't put Witcher on full blast while you've got the windows open now, yeah? There's some saucy scenes in there.
I'd say that would bring a crowd, but that's against the laws of social distancing, isn't it? So, and finally, let's bring in the final member this evening. It's Nath. Nath Retro. Hello, mate.
Hello, buddy. How are you doing?
I'm fine, thank you. How are you?
Yes, not too bad, thank you.
And the lockdown treating you?
I'm still working, from home, unfortunately. Well, fortunately in a way. I suppose I've still got to work, but yeah, it's a bit weird working from home, isn't it?
It is. Well, I used to do it, but I just can't do it now. I mean, I have to go in every day, but to be honest, I much prefer that. I just can't get on with working a home business. I'm quite glad I have to go out to work because it's too easy to get distracted at home. That's the problem.
That's one thing about it, yeah. Too many nice games about.
That's it, yeah. You know, if we sit in a room with 3,000 around you, then technically speaking, it's pretty easy to get distracted. Even if they're crap.
3,003.
3,003, yeah. Oh, one of the dogs agrees anyway.
Sorry, that's just me. The dog from next door gave me a dirty work, so I had to bite back at it.
Well, as we always do at the start of these podcasts, we'll get to our sort of subjects of the evening a bit later on. But what we always like to do is go around and ask everybody what they've been playing since the last cast was on the air, or indeed they were last on. And so, very much like to start with Pete. What have you been playing lately, mate?
I've still been playing Animal Crossing as much as I can. I kind of like, because we obviously can't go out and buy games, so I've been sort of looking at the Switch sale, picking a few bits up off that. I got the what was the game now? The one that Nathan mentioned last week? Squidlet.
Extreme Dodgeball. Oh no.
Yeah, no. I bought Squidlet, and it was it's really good, but yeah, it took me about 40 minutes to finish it.
That sounds like something you'd ask for in a chip shop. Squidlet and chips, please, and some crispy bits on the side.
No, it's a really charming little game. It really is. It's also with like indie games, I tend to find a lot of them are harder than they should be, but this one really wasn't. I also got Agilos. I don't know how you pronounce it. And I've kind of stopped playing that because it's as good as it is, it's really easy when you're just playing it until you get to a boss fight, and then it's really, really hard. So,
are these sort of these digital games, are they?
Yeah, they are. Yeah. But no, it's like a Metroidvania kind of thing. It's like really influenced by Wonder Boy. And it's really nice, and again, it's really charming, but it's just the difficulty spikes on boss fights just killed me. And then speaking of difficulty, I also bought Volgar the Viking for 89p, and I got about 200 yards into that game.
200 yards.
Threw a few spears, and that's it, innit?
Threw a few spears, got absolutely jumped. I think I got killed by a bee at the end. I just thought, no, I'm not playing this game. I'm not playing
it.
Yeah, no, it's not a day. You can only go 200 yards into the game and you get killed by a bee. That is pretty...
It's not a very good Viking, is he? I mean...
But you get your 90p's worth, I would say.
Yeah, probably.
I suppose a bee's a lot worse than a rock they was the other week, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, the Pokemon thing.
Destroyed. What about that?
Got killed by a rock.
I still don't... I mean, I did that in a video when I was testing out the console. It actually happened while I was playing on the video. I just killed by a rock.
Not related to Wile E. Coyote by any chance, are you?
Maybe. I don't like Acme stuff, so... possibly.
Okay. That one went past everybody. Okay. I could tell by the silence I'm playing to an audience of one here.
But to be fair, I kind of started saying it before I figured out what the punchline was going to be, so these things fall flat sometimes.
I'm having a good week. I'm having a good week so far. Yeah, that's yeah.
That's the extent of what I was doing.
Oh, right, okay, lovely. Well, if anybody's played any of those games, do let us know in the comment below, see if you got further than 200 yards. And, Rob, what have you been playing since we last spoke to you?
Okay, well, yes, it's a list of indie games. Here they come again. Top-down vertical shooter called Red Death. It's sort of very 8-bit era looking, sort of very NES colouring, sort of. There are colours there, but there still aren't that many. That was a lot of fun, very challenging. I played another virtual novel called Blind Men. It took less than 10 minutes to get the full 1000G out of it. I didn't read a single word and just held down RB and tapped A few times to get my gamer score.
Virtual novel?
Yes, there are a lot of those coming on the Xbox. There's a company that's got a license to do 8 of them, and they've done 2, maybe 3 so far. And they are just gamer score godsends, really, for you. And they're not expensive either. But anyway, played
I've never heard of that. No, that's
another indie game called Random Heroes Gold Edition, another 8-bit looking side-scroller. Got very repetitive and tiresome after a while. Unfortunately, that took 5 to 6 hours to get the game score out of as well. But a funnish twin-stick shooter was called Rush Rover, with this little white robot, and you sort of go between areas, and you have to kill all the enemies in the areas before you can move to another one. That was quite fun. That's all the indie games. I have been cracking on with Dead Space 3. I've been cracking on with it since I brought it up in the last one, potentially. Can't remember, because I've been playing a lot of Dead Space. They're all fusing into one.
You finished the first 2, haven't you?
Yes. This third one, the first half an hour, I was like, this is going to be hard to get through. And then I got past the first half an hour, and then the next couple of hours, or even 3 hours, have been quite fun. And now it's grinding on me again. It's becoming... it just hasn't got it, and you can see why it didn't sell that well. And since, obviously, the franchise has stopped. One other game I've been playing through Game Pass, Max: The Curse of a Brotherhood. That's a very fun sort of 2.5D side-scrolling platformer with puzzles, where you bring out this sort of pen out of his backpack and you can make vines and make branches. And I've got up to making these sort of jets of water which can push you around as well. Apparently there's a fire element to be brought in later. But the game I've left deliberately till last to tell you about is, we've all heard the story about how I got into gaming and I missed all the microcomputers and 8-bit home consoles, yeah? So there's a lot of sort of those styles of games I haven't played. Anyway, on the Xbox Live Store last week, I shared it with you guys. They released 7 games from that sort of time period. They called it the Retro Brawler Bundle, despite the fact they sold them all separately. And I saw Double Dragon. I thought, right, I have to play that. I loved Double Dragon back in the day. And I thought, no, play one of these games you've never played before. And for the first time ever, I have finally played Renegade. And what a tough little bugger that is. I honestly cannot remember the last time I screamed, shout, and swore at a game so much in a very long time. But stupidly enough, I enjoyed it. I don't know why.
Well,
but what a game.
That's the thing about those sort of games. You end up reacting like that, but you still keep going back and keep playing it, even though it tends to frustrate the heck out of you.
But the only thing with this is, obviously, again, I've got the achievements in mind here as well. It's like a lot of like the Sega releases they've done with Sonic and that. You can make a save point at any point, so you can get through the game by, you finish the first bit perfectly, just make a save, and then you can carry on. And if you screw up the next section, you can just go back to where you've already made. You know what I mean? You basically preserve your lives and get through the game. Mm-hmm. So yes, in order to complete it, I had to do that. I mean, if you could complete that game, because obviously you've got no continues in 1 credit or whatever amount of lives it gives you from the off, you have my respect, because it is brutal. It is brutal.
That's a pretty busy week then for playing games, isn't it?
Yeah, well, I'm locked down, plenty of time. The sun's out, the window's open,
Yeah.
But yeah, a lot of fun I had with that, actually. I'm going to try River City Ransom next. That's in the bundle as well, and I've never played that.
It's a good game.
I've never played that, so that's going to be the next one. So I'll leave the Double Dragons to last, because I played all those at once upon in my life. The annoying thing about them making that available is it's like £4.19, and I spent a bloody tenner on the cart about 3 weeks ago. I was like, you really? But River City Ransom will be next.
Yeah. All right. Well, hopefully we'll speak in the next podcast when you're on. We'll be able to catch up with that and see how you've gone on with that one.
I'll let you know what I thought.
Good man. Eddie, what have you been playing?
Well, I finally completed Resident Evil 2, which is a really good game. A game that I'm absolutely terrible at, like I said last week, or the week before, whenever I was last on.
Yeah, the week before, wasn't it?
Yeah, them kind of games. I think back in the day, you used to learn how to play these games because it's all completely new. But I've been spoilt by a lot of action in the games, and I'm not used to having to save my bullets, save my health and everything like that. So I'm trying to readjust to my gameplay styles. So yeah, it's really good and really beautiful, but yeah, it did beat me pretty much, and it took me quite a while to complete. I'm not a very good gamer, really. That's the secret. I just buy them all to pretend.
Honestly, you show me anybody who. I mean, I'm terrible. I'm good at certain games, but I'm terrible at most of them. I mean, it doesn't have to be. It's great thing about this hobby is you don't have to be particularly great at the games to enjoy them.
That's it. But then I've gone from that extreme to playing something completely modern like Spider-Man on the PlayStation 4.
Oh yeah,
which is basically a game that kind of plays for itself. There's not much that you have to do other than find things constantly. And yeah, to be honest, it's getting a bit of a grind fest, to be honest. There's a bit of story to it, but you're just flying through the city, which gets a bit boring after about an hour.
And this, of course, will be Marvel's Spider-Man.
The Marvel Spider-Man, yes. So yeah,
I'm not getting into that this week. That's another time.
This is the old spinage. Yeah, bit of confusion.
That's another time. Otherwise, we'll be here all night talking about
it's
that.
It's just branding. It's not the name.
But I mean, between all them big games, I just play a few shooters, which I'm getting a bit better every time I play them. I love the shooters, or the shmups, as other people like to call them. So yeah, I play them on off every so often. I've been playing one just recently for the first time, which is called Captain Tomaday. which you basically fly around as a giant tomato with these arms that just fly off, a bit like Rayman.
Oh,
and that, instead of bullets, you've got these hands that just fly off in front of you.
Are you sure this wasn't a dream you had the one time? because that sounds to me like that's cheese induced. That is.
Did they rip off Attack of the Killer Tomatoes?
It pretty much is, yeah. So it's a really good. It's a modern game made for the Neo Geo, but you can also get it for the Dreamcast as well. So one for you, Nath.
Sounds a bit like sounds a bit like the Cap Attack I was thinking, or Psycho Fox. I don't know why. It just sounded a bit like that.
Yeah, I suppose it's sort of like that, but as a shmup sort of thing. So you go and it's a vertical scrolling shooter.
Oh, yes, semi-living layer.
Yeah,
I was thinking Dynamite Heady.
You can actually buy
that as well.
Physical release of it for the Dreamcast. What's it called? Pixelheart.eu. So if you ever wanted to get a physical copy, it's the same place where you can get Volgar from, Nath.
I'm literally getting a pen. Say that again.
Yeah.
Pixelheart.
Pixelheart.eu.
So it's EU. I'm on that.
You can listen to it later with everybody else on the Sunday.
But it's
Eddie
Wednesday.
will just send me things later.
I'm plugging the podcast on the podcast.
Yeah,
Sunday
at 7 p.m. I will listen to it again. That's Sunday at 7 p.m.
Yeah.
So it's funny because Nath actually pointed out to me this game that we've been talking about just recently called Volgar. So you can actually buy it from Pixel Heart. They did a limited run of that. But someone bought it on eBay for about 130 quid for the Dreamcast.
Jeez.
And it's still for sale at Pixel Heart for €20.
I was going to pay for my extension.
Hundreds.
Sorry, Nath. Have you just bought 100 of them? The last 100.
192 left.
260 games worth, that is. Jeez.
But to be fair, I still haven't bought it, Eddie.
He's still not
bought
bought
it for 89p.
Yeah.
Before I move on to Nate, I'm sorry I'll hold you up here, mate. You mentioned something there, Eddie. Shoot 'em ups. Did you call them smups or something like that?
Well, there's a lot of contention with this. There's a lot of people say things different ways. Shooters is the original thing that people used to say back in the day. But then it kind of evolved to shoot 'em ups. And then it got shortened down then again to shmups.
It'll just be called in future, won't it?
Yeah.
We'll end up with that.
It's like the OG Xbox thing, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yes.
I mean,
I thought it was German.
What? That's schnaps.
Schnaps and shmups on a Friday.
What they call shmups in posher circles is shoot them ups.
Yes.
Moving swiftly on, I'll cross that one out, never do that one again. Nath, what have you been playing lately?
So, I can't tell you most of the games I've been playing because I spawned my pickups video because I've been playing some of the games I picked up. Which is the problem with not making a video for a couple of weeks because I've got all these games.
Just pretend embellish.
I know.
Just get your pickups video out quickly before Sunday.
Which of course now would be up because people are listening to this on the Sunday.
Yeah.
God, this is a proper time travel thing going on in my head right now.
Great.
Take it back to 1985.
Yeah.
No, well,
it's good,
I will tell you one of them because this is recommended to me by a copy of Yoku's Island, which is a fantastic little game. It is a pinball game mixed with kind of I don't know, is it? It's not a platformer, really, I suppose. But you're a little
like a Metroidvania, really is.
It's a weird one, isn't it?
Metroidvania pinball game.
It shouldn't work, but it really, really does. It's a lot of fun.
The
You're
only
a
thing
beetle.
I can really... Sorry, Karen.
I was going to say you're a little beetle just pushing a ball around, and you'll have little flippers that can flip you up to kind of higher levels, and you have to beat slugs and things like that to blow up extra parts to get into the pinball whilst working your way around an island. It's absolutely friggin' bizarre, but it's so cute and it really, really works. So
the only thing I can liken it to is Sonic Spinball.
Yeah.
It's not really the same at all. It's just so good. I mean, I got it. I played it because Eddie told me about it. So we're just passing it around the tNb.
Well, you've also got the postman action as well. That you actually got to be. You've got a bit of a manual job to do while you're being a pinball.
Yeah. I was playing that actually the other night. I'm just sorry to interrupt on this. But I did something the other night, which the first time I played it on Xbox Game Pass when I had that for £1 for a month. And at the start where the thing comes out of the water and says he wants a mushroom.
I'm going to say this now. If anybody thinks that, is this true? Because I don't believe any of this at all.
Yeah, it is.
So if they're making it up, do let me know in the comments, because I'm sitting there thinking this sounds amazing.
It's entirely true.
You can either give him a normal mushroom or a poisonous mushroom and knock him out, but it kills him really.
Yeah, I didn't know about it because the poison mushroom's in a secret little cave next to it. So when I first played it, I got him the normal one and gave it him, and I was a good boy.
Yeah, but is that before or after you use the magic rucksack?
The magic rucksack?
Yeah, there is a magic rucksack actually.
Is there?
That's where you put your post.
Oh, I just got a little whistle thing. I just play whistles at plants.
But yeah, this time I got the poison mushroom this time, and I took it down to him and just fed him.
The poison mushroom, of course. Yes, now, yeah. Now I know whether Debbie's taking the mick or not. I don't know.
I think that's going to have repercussions later on because I've murdered this guy.
Nah, he's all right. He had it coming to him. So yeah, that's Yoku's Island, which I played, and I decided to pick up a game and play on the Wii that I've had a while ago, and I picked this up. I think, Eddie, you said it was like Pikmin. It's nothing like Pikmin. It's Little King Story.
Little King Story, yeah.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Have you played it?
Yeah, I've played it briefly. It was a while ago, but it's one of the first Wii games I actually picked up.
It started out okay. You kind of have a really basic kingdom. You have to get people and then train them up to be guards or farms and stuff like that, and then take them around the world because it's all about world domination, things like that. And the more you unlock, you can unlock ones that do different things like miners and archers and things like that. And it started off quite good, but I have to say it's grown old quite quickly, unfortunately. It's it's not really like Pikmin. Pikmin's a lot more fun, so I don't unfortunately know if I'm going to finish that one. The thing about building the little towns up and things like that, it's a bit like Dark Cloud in a way. I kind of liken it to, and it's that I didn't really get on with that either, so unfortunately that one's probably going to have to go back on the shelf. But yeah, give it a good run.
It's very much classical as a sort of hidden gem, or unknown games, or people don't know about it, and it generally pops up on those sort of lists. I mean, it was a while ago. It seemed all right to me, but I picked it up purely on reputation. Yeah,
I think I did. I think I was speaking with Eddie about it, and he's like, I think it's like Pikmin. And I was like, well, doesn't seem like it is, but I'll give it a go. And I finally picked up, and it's not as good, unfortunately. But pick up and play some of these games that I picked up a while ago, and they've just been on my shelf. So glad to finally give them a bit of time.
Yes, but Nath, if I say a game is like Pikmin, it means that you'll go and play it.
That is true, actually. Dead Space, just like Pikmin.
Yeah. I can thoroughly recommend Sesame Street Volume 1 on the Xbox 360. That is so like Pikmin. It's unbelievable.
E.T. on the Atari 2600.
Yeah.
Just like it.
Yeah, My Horse and Me. Yeah. Spice World. Right. Spice World, so like Pikmin. Hey. It's just ridiculous.
Let's just complete the set. It's like Gears of War.
Gears of War, yeah.
I can kind of see how that might be like Pikmin.
Just tell me any games like Gears of War and I'll play that.
Pikmin's just like Gears of War.
I'm on it. Yeah, Spice World's very like Gears of War, yeah.
I probably should actually play Pikmin so I can actually use that tagline.
All this time. Thought you knew what you were talking about.
Never played it.
Is Pikmin actually like Forza?
I always tell people that, is it Overlord and Brutal Legend? I always tell people they're like Pikmin, and I've never played Pikmin.
Pikmin's the one with the magic rucksack. I keep telling you that. Yeah.
That's Dora the Explorer, mate. Honestly.
I thought Dora the Explorer was SpongeBob.
Dora's Explorers, we're taking it down a dark road again, aren't we?
Yeah, I don't know. Tangent alert. Should I have a bell or a sound effect or something for that?
Klaxon.
Klaxon. Yeah, a tangent klaxon. That's a good idea.
Or a dog barking, I don't know.
Oh, yeah. What have I been playing this week? Actually, very little, to be honest with you. The only two games I can say I've been playing this week was Ridge Racer Unbounded on the 360.
Yeah.
Which was a bit of a strange old game, to be honest with you.
It's funny, I described that in my recent video as basically being like Need for Speed, with the Ridge Racer naming.
I don't know, it didn't seem very Ridge Racery to me.
That's what I mean. Yeah, it's a good game, but it's just not a Ridge Racer game.
I'd heard it was like if Ridge Racer did Burnout.
Yeah, I was more close to Burnout than Need for Speed, to be honest with you, as you say there, Pete. And I just didn't seem right to me. Or you're having to press this power button to sort of go quicker than fly through objects and buildings and things like that. I'm like, what?
I was thinking cross between Need for Speed and Split Second is what I think it's like.
Yeah, Split Second. Yeah,
Split Second is so good.
Oh, it is,
great game.
I must get that one out. And the other one I went back to was Assassin's Creed, the original one, which is a pain in the arse to get going on.
As a huge fan of the series, I'd just say to that first one.
I don't know. I just thought so. I don't remember this taking that long to get through the introduction and the training part of it and what the hell's going on. And
the whole problem of it is you do like the tutorial and it tells you how to do like 6 different things, and then the next mission is do those same 6 different things.
Yeah,
and then the mission after that is do the same 6 different things, and it's like it goes on like that for about 12 hours. It's just so dull.
Yeah. I thought it's just ridiculous. I'm going to start playing a game. I'm not going to sit down here and play that for however long it's going to take me to do it.
You guys aren't helping. I'm trying to get inspired to play. I've never played an Assassin's Creed game. I'm trying to get inspired.
I'm the same. I
can't. Don't play the first one.
You don't really need to play them concurrently, because a lot of them, if you ignore all the futuristic bits, the stories are self-contained. So play Assassin's Creed 2, play Assassin's Creed 4. Play Assassin's Creed Syndicate and the last 2, Odyssey and Origins, because those 5 games are awesome. It's the rest of the series that's a little bit dull.
I think that what puts me off is the stealth nature of them, because I'm more of a guns blazing person, and I think they've got stealth in it, so I won't enjoy it that much.
But the great thing about, certainly 2 and 4 ones you said, Pete, was that right? Yeah. I mean, those are so dirt cheap to pick up anyway, Rob. I mean, if you picked up 2, you probably pay 50p a quid for it. It's worth a blast just to see how you get on with it.
I've got 1, 2 and 3, and they were all 50p each in charity shops. I've got Revelations, and so was that 50p. So
there you go.
Special 4 discer as well.
Yeah, I've got that as well. That was sealed off eBay for £2. That was a bargain.
That was a bargain.
A 4 discer in this day and age. Was it Monkey Island or something?
That was a 12 disc.
Floppy discer.
Yeah, floppy discer.
It's got 3 games in it, but one's a DLC code. But being sealed, that will still work. It's got. Let me get it off the shelf. Assassin's Creed 3, Assassin's Creed 4 Black Flag, so I do have that, and Assassin's Creed Liberation, but Liberation doesn't have a disc, it's a DLC code.
Liberation was DLC for 3, I think. No, it wasn't, it was the PSP, it was the PS Vita one, and then they brought it out on, sorry, ignore
that. I'll edit it out later.
No, you won't. No,
I won't. No.
That sounds like something you'll do.
It'll be first time for everything, won't it? Yeah. Right, so there we go. That's what we've all been playing this week, and there'll be more of that same time on the next podcast. Just to bring up to speed with a couple of things I mentioned on last week's episode before I move on to this week's topic of discussion. That is, thank you to everybody who left comment on the last video. I am compiling a list of people's questions through the podcast that we've done. Hopefully, I'm aiming for episode 10, should we get that far. It's a good job people aren't paying to listen to this. If we do get to episode 10, we'll try and throw that open to sort of like a listener sort of letters thing or questions that people have left for us, and we can sort of bring it up and go through it. I also did sort of ask people to sort of suggest and leave comments in responses to what we were discussing last week. That obviously was a very interesting debate that we had between Sean, Rob, myself, and Eddie. Was it Eddie?
No, it was Nathan.
Nathan, sorry. I don't know which week it is now anyway. And again, thank you for everybody getting involved in that. Obviously, everybody has their own opinion on where that timeline is. Thank you for everybody who's done that. If you haven't had a listen to that podcast, why the hell not? Go back and listen to it again, and don't come back here until you've done that, because we will be asking questions later on.
Now, there will be a test.
There will be a test, yeah. Now, the testing podcast. Today, or this evening, or wherever it is, what time you're doing when you're listening to this, what we were bringing up for a discussion this week is things within our collection, because at the heart of it, although we are gamers, we're also collectors. Thank you. What was that? Is that someone's phone?
Phone.
Joining in. Yeah, that's right.
And all the phones in at the start of class.
I mean, who the hell's booing me on our podcast? Get off. Yeah, I keep saying get off, but yeah, no. so we are collectors at heart. I know a lot of people who listen to this are very much the same sort of thing. You enjoy playing games. You also have great collections. You enjoy collecting gaming paraphernalia, games, consoles, merchandise, you name it, we collect it. So what we're going to sort of go through this week for the remainder of the podcast, if we could get through this, is obviously bring up some more interesting pieces that we have in our collections, not necessarily the expensive pieces, because sometimes they aren't the most interesting. And I thought I'd go in reverse order-ish, and I'll start with Nath on this one.
Oh, right, so...
yeah,
interesting.
Because I left you sat there for so long at the start.
Bless you.
No, that's all right. You'll get your own back, I'm sure. I'm sure.
See, I was thinking about this when we kind of mentioned it, aforementioned it earlier. I'm thinking, interesting things I have in my collection, but I don't have particularly many things interesting, but I have something that's so... Oh, I nearly swore then. Rubbish. It could be considered interesting. So,
yeah, because you said if it's
that's
interesting,
not so my horse for me too.
Yeah,
I think it trumps it. I think it trumps it.
But as I say, interesting things. There also can be other stuff in there which, for some reason or other, or in my case, every week you just buy something which is just completely naff, but you quite like it because it's naff, and you're Nath, so I suppose that sort of ties in quite nicely.
Yeah,
Nath left the conversation.
So the one thing that I thought that I could bring up for this is kind of a subset I've been collecting as part of the Wii.
What? A subset?
Yeah,
it's a subset.
Never heard of
Eddie, haven't I?
If you're playing the tNb drinking game, by the way, yeah, there's one for you.
Yeah, so subset, down your drink. So this item I came across a while ago from a subset I was collecting for the Wii, and it is from the Mama series of games, and it's Babysitting Mama. Now this is so rubbish that I thought, as well, it's so rubbish, I've got to have it just for a laugh. What it is it's a doll. And you put the remote in. I know it sounds crap when I'm saying it.
No, I want it. I've seen it so many times. People are sitting there thinking, how has he not got it? But I do want this. I've never seen one.
Does that kill the conversation?
Yeah, has he got?
Is Naff still here?
Naff.
Naff, talk about your Naff.
Well, yes, he's gone. There we go.
Yeah, he's gone.
For those playing tNb bingo, that's one discussion.
Yeah, that's another one. Yeah, I'll tell you something. People are going to be like Big Game Al at the end of this game, completely sloshed, didn't they?
See, I just got to I knew it was going to happen. That's number 2 for the drinking game.
Yeah,
when Nate disconnects from the chat. Right. So, yeah, where was I? This always happens to me.
Babysitting Mama.
So yeah, it's a doll, effectively, that you put the Wii remote and nunchuck into, and whilst the game is playing, you have to do such actions as to rock the baby to sleep.
This is just so cool. This is
the baby and things like that.
It sounds like child abuse.
And it has an absolute fit if you do it too fast, and just says like, "Don't shake the baby." But
wait. A Wii Fit?
A what? Sorry?
A Wii Fit?
Yeah, a Wii Fit.
I'm here all night.
That just went straight over my head originally. Yeah, it has an absolute
I've
Wii
just
Fit.
got that. Sorry. Yeah.
if you kind of do it too fast or shake the baby, and the whole thing is like to feed the baby and rock the baby and get to sleep, and it is so rubbish that I looked at it and I was like, do you know what, I've got to have that.
Do you know there's a special achievement if you kick the baby?
Don't kick the baby.
Don't kick the baby.
Was it particularly expensive, Nath?
No, I think it was only a few quid, to be honest, when I picked it up. I don't think it's very much at all. But like I say, I quite like the Cooking Mama games. I thought, yeah, I'll give it a go. It might not be too bad, even though, yeah, it's as naff as it looks.
So what did your missus say when she walks in and you play that?
You're not breastfeeding, are you?
Oh, he's gone now.
Oh, I thought we upset you, Nate.
Rob's gone.
They're dropping like flies tonight.
Oh dear, he's gone off to buy it. He's gone off to buy it from eBay. So, when my missus came in, she was like, "What the hell is this?" But I was playing it. My daughter thought it was absolutely hilarious. She's like laughing her ass off, and she is young. Being mocked by a child.
I always find those mama games kind of sexist because it's like you have cooking mama and babysitting mama, and then you have science proper. And it's like Dad gets to do the cool jobs.
Well, we get Hell's Kitchen.
I thought you said sexy for a minute there, V.
Oh yeah, those two. That too.
Well, we get Hell's Kitchen where we have to swear at the kitchen.
What?
Extra points for swearing at the kitchen.
Is that seriously a thing?
I know there is a Hell's Kitchen, but I've never played it.
It's on the DS, isn't it?
It's on the Wii, I think.
It's on. I've got it on the Wii, and it's. If you see the TV program on the American version, anyway, the game is really disappointing because it's nothing like that at all. It is just like a cooking mama variation and not a very good one.
That's the idiot sandwich, isn't it?
Yeah.
Where he puts a slice of the bread on the woman's head and he's like, "What are you?" And she's like, "I'm an idiot sandwich."
Yeah. He doesn't even call anybody a donkey in it, which is a complete waste of time because that's about as, it's one of his favourite things to shout at people.
I thought it was going to be one of them We Speak games where you get like extra points for shouting at the screen.
Are you back with us, Rob?
Oh, did you notice I went?
Yeah.
Nath stole my connection. Give my connection back, Nath.
I thought you went off to buy babysitting, Mama. I thought he's gone off to like look for eBay to get it.
Sorry, I needed the connection to order it.
It's just about a pallet full.
It's still on dial-up.
I feel like I am. So yeah, that is probably the worst thing that I have, and it just looks so rubbish that I couldn't not buy it.
Is there anything else you've got in there that you'd like to share with us? Or?
I have got a console that I picked up from the car boot sale, which is effectively. Well, Pete will like this one, so I don't want to call it rubbish and like. No, upset. In fact, I brought it over, but we never got time to play it when I can't see you, Pete. It looks like an N64. It has pads like the NES pads, but not the NES pads that the ones everyone knows, the ones that had kind of the 3D controls for the NES, if that's what they are. It has a light gun that goes in the front, which looks like nothing else, and it has one cartridge that goes in, which was broken when I got it, and it was sitting there, and they wanted, I think, £3 for it, and I was like,
right up my street.
It sat there, and it was looking at me, and the cables weren't in the best order. They're kind of frayed out at the end a little bit where it's supposed to plug in. I'm like, someone needs to give that a home so it doesn't go into landfill. So I picked it up, and when I brought it home, it has a cart like the Japanese NES. And when I plugged it in, it wasn't working, and the pin that held the cart on the inside has snapped, so only half it was plugging in to read. And I had to fiddle about with it for ages to actually get it to work. But the games are just completely naff. I think it's one of those 501 cartridges. I think I can grab it. I'm not going too far from me. What's it called? It's called the Mega Action Arcade. There you go.
That sounds like something I would love.
It really, really is. I'm going to have to do a video on it someday because, it's so... Yeah, the pads, I was wrong. They're kind of like a SNES pad. So they're a NES one. The light gun is like the NES light gun that's given up on life. And it's got an arcade action 99 in 1. And just for effect, can you hear this? That's what I have to deal with. The circuit board's not even held in place, so I had to actually open up the cartridge and take the circuit board out and just push it into the machine and not get electrocuted. But yeah, I had to give that a home.
It sounds absolute quality. Every home should have one. Possibly not.
Yeah, so for protection when the cartridge is not in use, place cartridge inside protective plastic case. Well, hasn't got one. Just have to shove my hands into the electrics on the machine. But yeah, one day I'll do a video on this.
And babysitting mama, hopefully, as well.
I want to see a full playthrough of that.
Yeah.
If you'd like to see Nath do a full playthrough of babysitting mama, leave a comment in the below, and we'll make sure he's aware that everybody wants him to do that. Now he's mentioned it and brought
maybe
it up.
For episode 100.
Yeah,
there you go.
How many you got to go before you get to 100?
Oh no, I went for the podcast.
Oh, for the podcast.
Coward.
Well, I forgot to tell you, we're upping them to 3 a week next week, so you're all right.
Yeah.
Rob, what sort of interesting stroke embarrassing things would you have lurking within your collection?
Well, I'm going to bring it up again, and I say again because I made a short video on it about a week ago, and it has absolutely fascinated me, literally, since I first played it. And to be honest with you, since I first got it, obviously, I picked up a bowl of PlayStation 1 and 2 stuff from a mate. He only wanted a tenner for it. There was a bunch of demo discs amongst it, and in that bunch of demo discs is the Blockbuster PlayStation Challenge. You know, I didn't think much of it to start with, but I thought, well, that's an unusual name for a demo disc. It's certainly quite quirky. So I bunged it in the system, up flashed this banner saying UK Gaming Tournament 1997, and so started...
So someone doesn't agree with you.
Oh, dear. And,
what was that?
So started one lap of Rage Racer, and it literally is one lap of Rage Racer. You start in 12th, you cross the line, and it's game over, and it goes back to that title screen. So I thought, well, I've got to do some research into this, and I did. And obviously the first thing I think is, well, has anybody ever sold one? So I went onto eBay. There's no previous listings that have been sold. So, I mean, I'm not expecting it to be any money. I've got to be honest with you. Everything's only what someone's going to pay for it, and it's a demo disc at the end of the day. If I get a $5 for it, I think I'll be lucky. But at the same time, I can't find another sale of it anywhere on the internet. So I started doing some research into it. It was issued to 600 Blockbuster stores, but never made available to the public. And everyone in this store took part, and they had to get a qualifying time that they had to beat in order to qualify for this contest in London, in which they turned up to, played a game at random, which they didn't know what it was, and the game was Crash Bandicoot 2. And then whoever won that then won a copy of the game and holiday at San Francisco. I've even found another video that someone's done on this after I did mine, and in the comments section, I can't remember his name, but the guy that won it, whose name I'd researched and looked up, was in the comments section going, oh, this brings back memories, I won this in 1997. And I've seen also a video on YouTube of him in a program called News Round of the kids, you know, actually talking about winning it. And I was going to say, whenever I look for it on the internet, I try it every now and again, and there are only 3 other people on the whole of the internet I've managed to find, one being this YouTube user, by the way, I'm assuming he's got it because he's played it, and 2 others and me that have got one, but it was never made available to the public. So I can only imagine my mate must have worked in Blockbusters in the late 90s and, you know, took it with him when they were done with it.
That's so cool because there is...
Sorry, I was just saying, it fascinates me, does it? Yeah.
Yeah, sorry. That's pretty cool because on the Super Nintendo there was a very similar thing called like the Blockbuster Super Nintendo cart, where it was a competition cart very similar to that, and that's worth thousands.
Oh, like, don't say things like that. You get me overexcited.
but that's Nintendo though, isn't it? So
someone was also saying to me they did something similar apparently a few years later, but with the Dreamcast.
Really?
And another game, but I can't remember what the game was. But so people don't know about this thing, and you know, people are scratching for information like I am, as to why it exists. As to, you know, how they got out there. Because what happened to all the other? Say I know those 4 only got out there. What happened to the other 596 of them? Did they just get? I imagine some got destroyed, but how many other people that worked there thought, oh well, if no one wants that, it's done with. I'll take that. It just, you know, apparently one of the websites I looked it up on list it as the rarest PAL demo disc. How true that is, I don't know. That's just could be just their words.
I must admit, I'd never known anything about it till one of the few videos I've actually managed to catch up with lately was that one, and yeah, it was absolutely fascinating to learn about that because I knew nothing about that disc being in existence at all.
But yeah, I'm still trying to find more out about it. I don't know how much more I can find out about it, but I would actually love to find someone that's perhaps sold one. The other story I found was some guy just saw it at a boot sale and got very excited about seeing it. The lady wanted 50p for it, and he just couldn't get his money across quick enough and run off with it. You know? But I thought
you were going to say he was like really excited, and then she said 50p, and he was like, no, not that much.
It wasn't me.
Yeah, no. It must be 10p. Yeah, you'd have left it behind.
The whole thing reminds me of The Wizard, that film, the Nintendo film.
Oh, I've been watching that.
Yeah.
It's worth a watch, actually. It's not great, but it's worth a watch. It's on Netflix at the minute.
I think I will say it's curious to want to sell it to see how much it's worth, but I want to keep it, so I don't want to sell it. I would love to know, just out of interest, what it's actually worth, but I have no intention of selling it because I think it's great.
Yeah, it's. I think it's those sort of things that you can put into your collection, and you know it's limited run, which not a lot of people have it, and also at the same time as well, it's it's an interesting talking point, and you can always bring that up when if anybody sort of inquires about it. Oh well, about this, and those are the sort of things that you look for, the things that sort of stand out from the generic stuff, which a lot of people always pick up. It's these little things here which sort of mean a lot to a collector, and you got something that probably a lot of us will never have.
Well, for comparison again, that's it. The Donkey Kong Country Super Nintendo Blockbuster cart. One sold in 2009 for $700, which I'm pretty certain it sells for about $10,000 nowadays.
Wow.
It's between 5 and 10 or something crazy.
I'd never sell it. If someone said, "Here's $10,000 for that disc," I'd be like, "Okay."
Yeah.
Should we go to the bank now together?
But as soon as everything goes onto disc, then the price just plummets, doesn't it?
Yeah. The thing is, with the way the Wii is going up at the moment, they'll be giving away those Donkey Kong cartridge things with it. I'll try that again later, anyway. Good, yeah.
I can't wait for the Wii crash, by the way.
You are sorry.
I can't wait for the Wii crash. When everyone starts going back to work and nobody wants the Wii anymore.
That's a nasty rumour. It's like the 5G signals coming through coronavirus and all that.
Let's not mention it.
Yeah, car boots are going to be filled in September with just Wii's everywhere. Yeah.
That's great. So you can just move in and pick.
I was going to say, all I can hear in Bear's head right now is "My time to shine."
Yeah.
I'll pick you up, Russ. We'll go make a day trip.
That's it. I've got a trailer, mate. We'll be all right. We'll just load it up. Yeah, they'll be giving it away.
Yeah, so that's my interesting thing. And Eddie, if you find anything about it, if you know a little bit about Blockbuster stuff, please let me know. I'm still fascinated. And I'm still researching all the time.
There's some homework to be done there. Yeah.
I actually did compete on the Donkey Kong one back in the day. And I got a free pack of cards. I can't remember what they were, Marvel cards or something stupid like that. But yeah, there was a Blockbuster across the road from me, and I think I competed about 3 times. Didn't get anywhere. Didn't get anywhere at all. But yeah, it was cool. It was a cool little competition back in the day. Now, obviously, they've carried it on until Dreamcast time, which I never knew about.
I'm only going by the word of someone said, I'm sure there was a Dreamcast one as well, so...
I mean, it probably will have done. I've never heard of the PlayStation one, so it could very well have done.
Well,
I have to look it up.
Well, while we got you on there, Eddie, I mean, what about your collection? Because I dare say there's going to be... Having seen some of your videos over the last couple of years or so since you've been doing them, I know there's going to be some interesting stuff in there.
I mean,
what have you got?
Before anyone says, I've got a couple of subsets. we won't talk about subsets. Yeah. We won't talk about, maybe. I mean, I've got a couple of things I've actually seen from yourself that inspired me to get them. The Grover... What is it? The Grover Wii remote cover?
The Grover Wii remote cover. If anybody's interested, just while you're there, game on the Wii called Ready, Set, Grover, which is a Sesame Street game for the Wii. You can still buy it on Amazon for the princely sum of £3.
There's a bargain.
On Amazon for £3.
£3. And they're sealed.
Nathan's disconnected.
But yeah.
Priorities, mate.
Yeah, I remember you saying that. I picked up the one time. I mean, it must have been 2018, I think I picked it up, and then you said you'd bought it as well afterwards, didn't you?
Yeah, because that's it. I mean, I love my high-end, expensive stuff or whatever, but I also love the weird stuff that should never have been released and costs absolutely nothing, and no one else wants it.
Yeah, is yours still sealed like mine?
Yeah.
There we go. Yeah.
It's not well used now.
I might go and buy another copy at £3 just so I can open that one and have a go with it.
It's probably worth it, actually. Yeah, do an unboxing. Yeah, I mean, you get about 4 views, but it's worth it.
I've got enough Sesame Street games, mate, to make an entire video. Anyway, so I'm distracting from what you were saying there. Sorry.
I mean, I've picked up a variety of interesting stuff. So some tat or tuts, as you guys call it. I recently at the Doncaster Gaming Market, I actually picked up for the Nintendo DS Easy Piano for the whole princely sum of £2. I think it cost me, and basically it's just a piano attachment to the DS where it's got about.
I'm already writing this down. I'm hooked already.
It's got about 12 keys to learn how to play piano. So you probably need about 8 DSs in a row, really, to actually make it worthwhile. But yeah, like it's pretty cool. Little attachment that I've just never seen before, really.
I've never heard of that one at all.
Yeah, it was from Craig's here again, you see. So
he
has all the bizarre. If you really want to talk about like bizarre stuff, go to his store because it's like a museum.
Yeah,
but it's all for sale.
It's the Aladdin's cave of collections and for sale at markets, that isn't it? You know?
Didn't they do like Guitar Hero one, which had like 3 keys or whatever?
Yes, I've got that one as well. Yeah, I've got that on the Wii. Yeah, never used it though. But that has got a few more keys, and it's more usable than this easy piano. I will try and send you a picture of it later.
The keyboard for the guitar. Oh, it was a Rock Band, wasn't it?
Was it Rock Band? Yeah,
because I've got that.
Yeah. Are you on about the DS one?
Yeah,
I thought I've got that Guitar Hero for the DS.
Yeah, this easy piano that I was talking about initially is the DS. So it's just this really diddy thing that's got like hardly any keys at all.
In fact, there's only 6 notes, so if anything, you've got surplus keys.
How many keys do you need for chopsticks?
Well, you need fingers of chopsticks, don't you?
I mean, using your keys to pick up Chinese food would be a bit hard, wouldn't it?
Yeah. We could stop. Are we talking about house keys or are we talking about...
But yeah, so weird stuff I picked up. I've got a controller for the PlayStation 2 that is the shape of a Dragon Quest slime. Which, if you don't know what a Dragon Quest slime is, it's one of like the sort of enemies that's in the game, but they're so cute that everyone loves them, and like the Japanese go absolutely mad
for them. Mascot for the series.
Yes. So it just looks like a water drop.
That's it. Yeah, I was just about to say that. Yeah,
it looks like a little fat water drop, and that is a controller. So yeah, it's just this really weird round-shaped thing that.
Is it any good?
It's sealed, so I don't know.
It's a wireless one. I've just looked up because I didn't know what you're in. It's a wireless one for the Switch, right? That's going in the shopping basket as well.
They've remade it for the Switch and the PlayStation 4, yeah. So originally this is a PlayStation 2 one.
Because I'm going back a little bit further. Sorry to keep jumping in here, but a little bit further than that. When sort of the joystick craze of the late 80s, and there was a company, I can't remember which company it was now, and they sort of produced like joysticks which were basically based on sort of the Terminator and
the Simpsons as well.
Yeah, and they were meant to be absolutely terrible.
Oh yes, yeah.
I never had one. Yeah.
To be honest, this is by Hori, so it's a good like company. And
Curry's.
Hori.
Oh, Hori.
Hori, yeah, not Curry's, yeah. It wouldn't have survived until now if it was Curry's. But yeah, that's quite an interesting one. I've also got for the PlayStation 2 and also the PlayStation 1. It works for both. It's a vest that you put on by a company called Interactor.
I think I know that.
Has this got the special breast attachment so you can use it with your babysitting mama?
Well, it would probably extract the milk faster because you put it on and it actually vibrates. So every time you get hit in the game, it's supposed to interact to this vest and vibrate it, and you feel like you're in the game. It was virtual reality back in the late 90s.
But it sounds cool, doesn't it? I mean, it sounds amazing. Even now, you go, God, I want one of those.
Well, I actually bought one for Sean to review, and he's still not reviewed it yet, so I'm a bit disappointed. So, Sean, if you're hearing this, review that bloody Interactor.
I remember seeing it seeing a TV advert for it when I was a kid, and it showed a kid like playing Mortal Kombat, I think it was, and it like feel every punch. And I was like, why would you want to do that?
And
it's been bullied. And
it's the only time ever in the history of the universe a vest has been cool.
They just seen as a bit.
Tooty?
A Dainster?
Yeah. It depends who's wearing it, I suppose, really. I wouldn't.
Bruce Willis?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hulk Hogan? Although he takes his off, doesn't he? Quite aggressively.
Tooty takes his off as well.
Right, moving on.
Just out of interest, Eddie, have you got the Resident Evil chainsaw controller?
Oh, that is one that is really high on my list to get, but I don't want to spend over 50 quid for that.
I know somebody who does have it.
Yeah?
So Mr. Bin Mouse, yeah.
Bin Mouse.
But how does that control? I've seen it, but I've got no idea how it works.
The chainsaw one?
Yeah.
It's just a chainsaw with the controls randomly placed. It's very much like this Dragon Quest one. It's a shape first, and then a controller second. So it's just got random like thumbsticks and buttons just like randomly placed. And I think as well the start button is actually a pull string, as if you started a chainsaw.
Because if I'm going to spend 50 quid on a controller like that, I want it to obviously work with the game, but also to cut trees down outside. It's got a dual purpose because I can claim that back on sort of like expenses.
There's two different ones. There's one for the PlayStation, which is red, and there's one that's yellow for the GameCube.
I've seen the GameCube one, yeah.
I've only seen the PS2 one.
Yeah, and I think the GameCube one's a little bit small as well, and costs a lot more because obviously the price for Nintendo just puts everything up.
So when it first came out, I nearly actually bought the GameCube one, and I really wish I had now.
Yeah, I did see it when it first came out. I thought, that looks really... Yeah, I must have one of those sort of things. Yeah. I said rubbish and it's something else. Oh, no, it's gone again.
See you later.
Yeah, he's going to see if his baby's all right. It's going to just...
Making sure Rob's not come over and robbed it.
Oh, he's back.
Is the baby all right?
Yeah, is the baby all right?
Yeah, man.
I've been to reinsert that Wii remote.
I should have asked where it went, but no, we're not going to go there.
No, that's why I said it sounds like child abuse. That's what I was meaning.
Jesus. Comes out the back of it, Pete.
Tone lowered. I'll see you guys next week.
Your work here is done.
And another few things that I've got as well. I've got some novels based on NES games. So these were brought out back in the late 80s, early 90s. And they're called The Worlds of Power. And you've got Blaster Master, Metal Gear, Ninja Gaiden, Simon's Quest, Castlevania 2, Wizard Warriors, Bionic Commando, and Mega Man.
Wow.
They're just like these little novelized little things where they're, I don't know, about 100 pages maybe. And it tells the story of the whole game. Like, so cool. Like, like the little Ladybird kind of books?
Yeah. Where did you find those?
eBay.
God.
I think I saw him on an American Guy's TV.
American TV. Guy, yeah.
American YouTube channel. And I was like, oh, that looks so cool. But there is actually UK ones and American versions that are totally different. Same story.
But those are the sort of things which, again, sort of sit outside a bit. It's gaming, it is game related, but those are sort of the really interesting things, or the sidelines that go on with all the merchandise that are released going to it, that I find so interesting that come with this sort of hobby.
Definitely, because being illiterate, they're never going to get read.
Well, they produce these books thinking that gamers can read.
Yeah, well, they're just like the pretty pictures on the front of them, which is really cool. But as well, Mega Drive actually muscled in. Well, Sega of Mega Drive muscled in on it and made 4 little books themselves. So I've actually got a Desert Strike one in front of me as well.
Do they all sort of stack on top of each other and they get sort of more and more silly as you put added bits onto them?
I got it.
Oh, come on, that I thought was quite good.
I get it.
Okay, right, I'm done then, yeah. I'll just mute myself for the rest of the broadcast.
You can tell me later.
Oh dear. Pete, what have you got in your collection that would sort of fall into the same sort of categories?
It's kind of picking and choosing what to actually talk about, because I can talk for hours on the weird stuff I've got. Obviously, there's my Terminator consoles, which is probably it's one of my favourite things in my collection, especially, well, the Terminator 3 is. The Terminator series, they were like... Oh, hello? Sorry. People seem to be dropping out of chat.
No, we should still be here, so...
Yeah, anyway, the Terminator series of consoles, they were like Famicom clones, but the original one was like a part-for-part remake of a Famicom. And they came out in like places like the Middle East and Asia and Eastern Europe. And over there, like, getting actual consoles was such a hard job that these Famicom clones actually outsold the actual systems themselves. It's like the Terminator 2, I believe it was like the highest selling console in Eastern Europe for Eastern Europe and Pakistan for decades, until well into the PS1's lifespan. So it's like they've got a lot of like cult status among that kind of circle. And I have one which is a Terminator 3, which is like a proper part-for-part remake of the Famicom.
Mm-hmm.
And then that one, it was like found in the back room of a abandoned toy shop in Greece. And yeah, it's just I love the fact that it's got such a backstory and everything. And it was sat fully boxed in this. I got it was it last year or the year before I got it? I can't remember. But it was sat there since, like, I'd say the early 90s. Just sat there fully boxed in this toy shop.
That's a great find.
And then I got another one, the Terminator 5, I think it was, from Doncaster Gaming Market this year, which I was kind of coerced into buying from Nathan and Eddie, who appear to have muted themselves.
Basically, no responsibility.
Yeah, that is probably the worst thing I've ever bought. Like, the machine is literally just a NES on a chip, and there's nothing else inside that console. And I couldn't get it to work at first. I noticed when I pressed the power button, there was like a little flicker on screen. It turns out to get it to work, you have to hold the power button down all the time it's on.
How?
That's a handicap to play the game, actually.
Yeah. So that's never going to get used, and it's just an absolute all round. It was a Chinese knockoff one of the selling like toy shops in China.
So if there's 5 of them, that means there's a subset brewing there.
There is a subset. I believe it started with the Terminator 2 because it's best film. Yeah.
But the other thing is, you can get your mates around to play on it, and then they can come around and expect to play games. You say, no, just hold that power button on there for a bit.
One of you gets to be the power button. But yeah, there's those two. I've got got a little machine called the Amiga, which it's a little 3D printed sort of replica of the Amiga. It's not a Raspberry Pi, but it's sort of a similar thing. It runs on Linux, and that I got because I never thought I'd ever get an Amiga, and I still haven't. And I bought that from guys who made it themselves. There was only 2 guys actually manufacturing these things, and it's like got a 3D printed case and everything. And it never actually got past the prototype stage before they stopped producing this kind of thing.
I have seen this, so I was absolutely fascinated when I saw it. I thought, wow, what a great idea that was.
Well, when I saw it, I thought I had to have it, so I did get it. I don't think it was that much. I can't remember because it's been about 4 or 5 years since I bought it now.
Yeah, that's right. It was going back a bit.
Does it come with a disc drive, yours? I know there's 2 different versions, isn't there?
That's right.
No, I opted for the one without the disc drive. I wish I'd got the disc drive one now. But you can't get them new now. I know some people are selling them on eBay, but I have no idea how much for. But
I think I had a look, and I thought they were quite expensive. Because I've got a 500 and a 1200, but something like that is much more convenient to play stuff on. So, and I thought, I missed that one.
It's a really good. There's only one game I've played which doesn't play right on it, and that's Brian the Lion. But
that was a long night at the office coming up with that game, wasn't it?
It's a really good game.
We've got a line. What do we call it? Steve? No. Keith? No. Nigel? No.
It's Ryan. Really good. It's a really good 2D platformer. I was so upset when it wouldn't work, but I've sat and played like old point and click games and everything, and stuff like Cannon Fodder and things like that. It works amazingly.
You can have an whole episode devoted to talking about Amiga games. I mean, it's just
let's. But I said let's.
Yeah. Well, we certainly will do if we can.
And the public domain scene as well. I mean, that was amazing.
Oh yeah, there's a couple of games I've got like public domain ones. Like there's a space shooter called Transplant, which is kind of like Asteroids, but like the camera follows the ship instead of the ship moving around the screen. And it's so good.
Merv the Merciless.
Yeah. I can't remember much about that, but I did have that back in the day.
It was just absolutely bonkers, that game.
I remember I used to get the One Amiga, the magazine, and used to get the cover discs on it. I'd quite often have like a public domain full game on there.
That's right, yeah. That's a so great point of picking those discs up with all the playable demos and the utilities and the shareware. Well, shareware they called it back in the day, wasn't it? I think. Yeah. Yeah, we could go on for hours about that one. Sorry, everyone else just fall asleep.
We'll save it for later then.
Yeah.
Just trying to think of other things of noteworthy things to talk about in this, like in my collection. I've got this weird little sort of traditional board game compendium that's Capcom branded.
Really?
And yeah, it's like a little wooden. It's got like checkers and backgammon and stuff in it.
Mm.
And I won this on I think it's Now Gamer the magazine. When they first started, they put a forum out, and I was like part of that forum when it was first launched, and there were only about sort of 15 of us, including I believe it's Atheistium. She's a journalist. I got to know her a bit. She's not great. But yeah,
I hope she's not listening.
They used to do a podcast, and they'd have a competition at the end, and they'd play music from a game, and you had to guess what game it was.
Mm.
And I listened to this. I used to just listen to the end of this podcast just to play the music and try and enter the competition. Never actually listened to the whole thing, but I won it on. It was Laura's theme from Silent Hill 2, and I was literally the only person that said Silent Hill 2.
Everyone else just saying.
Everybody else. Yeah. Everyone else just said Silent Hill. Because it is really similar to the theme tune from Silent Hill 1 as well. But yeah, I won this competition. It was just basically a box full of stuff they found around the office. I got a couple of like dev kits for not dev kits, like sort of review codes for games like Chili Con Carnage, I think was one of them. And there were all sorts of things like that, just like little bits out of press kits and things like that, but it had this wooden Capcom board game compendium in it, and I've still got that sat on my shelf next to me. It's something I've been meaning to show to Eddie actually for a while, because it just seems like the kind of thing he'd be into.
Well, try and keep it clean if you can, please.
Just having a look around my room to see if there's anything else that's weird.
You mentioned Chili Con Carnage. Is that their Total Overdose game, is it?
It's a sequel to Total Overdose.
Oh, it's a sequel to it. Oh, right. Because I'm sure, isn't that on the back of the actual box itself? Doesn't it say something like Chili Con Carnage?
I think that's just the title of the game, isn't it? It's on the PSP, isn't it?
Yeah, it is, yeah.
It's on the PS2 as well. I'm just trying to see if I can reach
it. It's not on the PlayStation 2.
Total Overdose on the PS2.
Total Overdose is on the PS2. Yeah, sorry, I'm getting confused. Yeah.
Chili Con Carnage was the PSP sequel. It was Total Overdose, not Chili Con Carnage, that had the thing, though.
I'm sure it had it on the back of that. I'm sure it did.
It might have. They might have just thought, that's a great name. I do know somebody.
I think that's the reason why I bought it.
Well, yeah, I was just saying. I know someone. I used to work with somebody who bought it just because of the name, Chili Con Carnage.
Yeah, it does say. I've just got it off the shelf. Yeah, it does say Chili Con Carnage on the back.
Oh, does it?
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to check mine out now.
Tijuana hip hop. Wow, featuring Molotov, Delinquent Habits, and Control Machete. That's
pickups video there.
Yeah. Welcome to the latest pickups video.
It's a music game.
As I read stuff off the back of the boxes to you, I ain't got the manual with it either. Oh, well. Okay, yeah, sorry about
that. Yeah, I'm just trying to have a look around and see if... I mean, I've got so many Famicom clones and stuff that are just weird. But I don't want to talk about them too much. I don't know, one I've got, it's a Japanese copy of Buster Groove 2 on the PS1. And it's in a green case, like the CD case is in clear green plastic, like translucent green plastic. The booklet's green, the disc's green, and everything like that. And I've looked online, I've googled it, and they did 3 different versions in different colours. There was a blue one and a red one. And I can't find any information as to why. This was like as well as the normal version of the game. And I got it for pence on eBay. And I've at the time I wasn't YouTubing myself, but I sort of reached out to people channels I watched who I knew specialised in Japanese stuff, like Retro Gamer Girl and stuff like that. And reached out to them to see if they had any kind of information for this game, and no one actually did. So for the life of me, I don't know why this game is in a green case and all green and everything. But
is it like a light green or a dark green?
A light green.
Oh,
it's
great.
like a lime green kind of colour.
Yeah, so that will sort of stick out with everything else within that.
Yeah,
sort of. Yeah, I like the idea. That's brilliant.
Yeah, it's it just looks really. It's apart from that, it's just a normal Japanese PlayStation game, but it's just the plastic on the piece is lime green. And I've looked it up, and from what little I could find about it, It was actually officially released in that case. It wasn't just that somebody swapped the case.
Mm.
So that's just kind of, I don't know, I just don't know anything about it, and I couldn't find anything about it.
Again, it's great to have something like that where, you've got something and nobody, like Rob's demoed this, you don't know anything about it, or you can't find information about it. It's honestly, having things like that in your collection is fantastic. Really is.
It really is. It's one of my favourite pieces, actually. It's just, Buster Groove is one of my favourite game series. I know it's kind of a niche kind of thing, but...
I like it.
I learned about Capiera through Buster Groove. I've never heard of that before. That song was awesome.
Yeah, I mean, the first Buster Groove I could just play through completely. Like, I was really good at it. No one could beat me at it. 'Cause, I mean, it's like set out like a fighting game, isn't it?
Mm.
But it's just, it's so good. But anyway, that's a different subject entirely.
Puzzle games, there's another episode. Yeah. I mean, you've also got quite a good light gun collection as well, haven't you?
Yeah, I've not really got anything apart from like the Terminator light guns, because both of those came with a gun as well. I've not really got anything unusual in that. Apart from I've got it's a Wii, like how they brought out the Wii Zapper.
Yeah.
This is that's like Frank Zapper but really small. No, but
that's a down with the kids reference, yeah.
Yeah.
It's like one of mine.
I keep firing out these jokes, and eventually one will land.
I got that one. I got that one. I'll just put that one out there.
You were just distracted.
But yeah, I got a Venom light gun attachment for the Wii remote, and it's like a handgun, like size and shape, and it's so comfortable to use. It's so much better than the original one, and it's honestly the best light gun attachment I could find for the Wii. And
because isn't there one for one of the Resident Evil games? Is it the Umbrella Chronicles, or is it the Dark Side Chronicles? I'm sure there's an add-on for the Wii for that.
I've never seen anything, because the Umbrella Chronicles and Dark Side Chronicles were just light gun shooters, weren't they? Really?
That's it. But I'm pretty sure there was a version that came out with like an attachment for the Wii remote on that
revolver. One. It was like a Magnum shaped one, wasn't it?
Oh, that was House of the Dead Overkill.
Was it?
Yeah, that's got like a revolver.
I'm sure. Yeah, I'm sure there's one for Resident Evil. I could be wrong.
No, it's Overkill. It's what's it called? It's got a really cool name, but yeah, it's a white one that looks like a massive, like Dirty Harry revolver kind of thing. But I can't remember the name of it.
I did really want that actually. But yeah, a lot of the third-party light gun things to the Wii would have it so the remote would sit in the barrel, and then the handle was the nunchuck, and that made absolutely no sense to play in the game at all, because you'd use the nunchuck buttons as the triggers, which never happened in any game. But this one I got from Venom, the nunchuck doesn't go into it at all. It's got its separate port in the bottom for the nunchuck to go into. So it was just such a good, it's honestly the best gun attachment I've ever used for the Wii.
The hand cannon is the
hand cannon
one.
That's the one.
I knew it had like a quality name. I just couldn't think of it.
The hand cannon. That last one you get at the brothel. But anyway, I said it before we came on air that I want to add a few things of mine in, because obviously you guys have talked at great length about what you've got in your collection, and very passionately as well. And I really wanted to, with the four of you here tonight, to allow you to sort of talk about what's in your collection and some interesting pieces, which we hope everybody out there listening to this has enjoyed listening to. I'm probably going to chuck in just 3 items from my own collection, because Eddie's covered a couple that I've picked up, and but a couple of things I'm just looking around here for, which I know are really interesting. People would have seen these on my pickups videos anyway. The first one is the Alan Wake limited edition set, which obviously Pete donated the bulk of that to me from there. But that is just a wonderful limited edition set, probably one of the best limited edition sets I've ever actually seen. It's got the book, it's got a CD, it's got the actual game in itself. It comes in a giant sort of fake sort of velvet covered book. If anybody's ever seen that before, complete and in great condition, and I was very fortunate and very grateful for Pete to donate that to me. It is one of the best things I've seen, and I'm absolutely thrilled to have it in there. And they are quite difficult to find them in complete condition. I do see the odd one knocking around where the book's missing, or perhaps the music CD's missing from it. What's fallen over in the background?
Oh, just cats. Don't worry about
them. And it is just a fantastic set to hold. The second one, which again, it's probably going back to sort of Rob's disc and something that Pete mentioned as well. Last year I picked up in a gold tin a copy of Lord of the Rings: The Third Age on the PlayStation 2. And the gold tin has completely flummoxed myself, and also, again, a lot of people I know. I think you had to look for it, Eddie, didn't you? Have a look for it online?
I did look for it quite a bit,
yeah. And I have never seen it before.
Because it's obviously right up my street.
Yeah, and I've never seen it before, and I've never seen it again since. And I mean, there's nothing special to it. It just comes in a gold tin. It's all the details on the back is about the game. It's relating to the game. It just got the film details and the copyright electronic arts in there. When you actually open it up, it's nothing other than a copy of the game inside it, and it's not a special limited edition of the game. But like I said, it's just a complete flummoxer when you're sort of trying to find information about these sort of things. I don't even know if the gold box is related to the PlayStation 2 version of the game, or whether it's related to, I think it was an Xbox one, and possibly maybe the PC version of it. It didn't cost me a lot of money, but I've never seen one before or since, and these are the sort of things that you look to find in your collection. And probably one of the great finds, and it comes from my Wii collection. I was going to mention Grover, actually, but Eddie brought that up ages ago. Is the Epic Mickey 2 limited edition, which comes in an old sort of based on an old television, wooden television with like an embossed front and a raised sort of plastic with the television screen on there. I picked this up from CEX for a tenner.
That's a bargain, that.
And it is an absolute bargain. And I was so lucky when I got there, because all the kit that came with it, there's a limited edition film cell. There's actually a USB stick in the shape of the Oswald the Rabbit character, which has got all sorts of documentaries and bits and pieces and commentary on it. And there's like a little Disney, little Mickey Mouse figurine in there. All those things had not been touched. The game itself is still sealed. And I was just incredibly fortunate to find that in that condition. I've seen it since, and the condition of these things has been absolutely awful. There's a little bit of a mark on the top of the box on the corner, but I've seen these things sort of squash to heck. And I was just incredibly lucky to find that.
Is that the second or the first one, Russ?
It's the second one.
Oh, the second one.
Yeah. I mean, the first game it's has a shocking camera on it, but it's got one of the best sort of introductions to a game I've ever seen, especially on that system as well. The second game, I haven't played it. I don't think it's an improvement on the first one from what I've heard about. But it's just a beautiful set. You don't see it very often, particularly in that condition. And it's just one of those cases where, as a collector, if you're in the right place at the right time, then you can find these sort of things. So those three, they sort of go on to that. I mean, other thing that I quite like having it is the weird and wonderful attachments, like the light guns are always great to find, the way they're designed. I've got some Wii lightsabers as well, which are brilliant because they light up, and when you're playing the Star Wars, Force Unleashed, and the Clone War games, that's always interesting little things like that. Even the quality of the figurine designs on the Skylanders and the Disney Infinity sets. I mean, they are just nice things to have around. You could collect the figurines of the Disney ones on their own, and they just look fantastic. I don't know what everybody else thinks about that, but I just think as a collectible thing, you could just pick those up and display those, and they'd look absolutely fantastic. They'd not look out of place anywhere.
More so than the Skylanders, anyway.
Yeah. The Skylanders, I mean, it's not my sort of thing, but the Disney ones just look absolutely amazing. They're done in that
Disney Infinity as well. They look all right.
Yeah, they are
another series.
Superb.
It's funny to talk about just limited editions and unusual in general, because there are so many out there that are just unusual that we don't own. I mean, I just want to bring a couple of examples to your attention. Has anyone heard of the Call of Duty one, which came with a hip flask? But the hip flask was a metal hip flask. You took the lid off and it was sealed. It was just a display piece.
Yeah. They messed that up, didn't they?
Yeah. There's
fail.
The Dead or Alive bust.
Oh, sorry, yeah. Go on.
I was just going to say, there's the Dead or Alive bust, which is just literally it's a torso of a woman in a bikini, but no arms, no legs. It's just a bust.
That's Dead Island.
Dead Island. Sorry, yeah.
I won't mind that myself, actually.
I think the best one, actually, is all these people bought one of the Halo limited edition box sets because it come with a Master Chief helmet, and they got all excited that if it fits, they could wear this helmet, and it came through, and it was just basically a solid lump.
I've got the
he'd turn up at people's doorstops.
I've got the Killzone 2 one with the helmet, and that's really nice.
Did they not release a Call of Duty set with the infrared goggles as well?
I have it.
Yeah.
You have you?
Yeah.
Oh, I thought that was a wind-up at the time.
Where I work, they randomly got a shipment in. I'm not going to say where I work, but we're going back like maybe 10 years now. They randomly got like a shipment of them in, and they were selling them off for £20 each.
Yeah.
So
I was actually going to bring that up, like how crazy some of the Call of Duty
special editions
really
are,
but they dropped in value. But the value of the stuff that's inside was like hundreds of pounds.
Infrared goggles. Not infrared, night vision goggles. That was in a Call of Duty.
That's what we were talking about just a minute ago.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry.
And they also had a drone as well. They had a drone in it.
They had like a radio-controlled car with a camera on as well. And,
oh, dear.
They did some really good stuff.
The night vision ones, I actually took. We went to like a cottage in Wales, and I actually took the night vision goggles with me, and we went caving. And I had them on while I was going into the cave, and I wasn't aware at how dark it actually was until I got quite far in, and then I took them off, and we were in pitch black. They really do work really well.
Did you really get into it and get everyone to call you Soap while you were down there?
Radox. Radox was my call name.
Radox. Oh dear. Right. Well, I think that brings us to a full circle on that. It's been a really we've gone longer than we have done on previous episodes, and but I think completely good reason. And we've got some really interesting items we've talked about, stuff that other collectors may not have. I know there's stuff here that guys have talked about that I certainly haven't picked up, and I'm pretty sure that we'll all be saying the same thing about each other at the end of it. If you have heard of anything that we've talked about here and you'd like to shed some light on it, particularly the stuff we don't really know anything about, and there is quite a bit of that, do let us know in the comments below. Likewise, if you'd like to share some interesting tidbits from your collection, very careful what I'm saying there. We'd love to hear that as well, and we can always feedback and see if we can sort of shed any light on that. If you have anything in your collection you're a little unsure about, where the origin of it comes from, and where it lies in sort of any value. In fact, most of this stuff tends not to have any value attached to it, but it's more the enjoyment that it brings a collector. So all that remains for me to be saying for the moment is thank you very much to everybody who's been here tonight. A bit of a crammed room, but that's worked really, really well. We haven't done 4 before, and myself, so we may do that again in the future. So I'd like to thank very much indeed to say thank you to Pete.
Thank you.
That's a very pleasure, mate. Rob, thank you very much indeed.
Thank you very much, everyone, and take care.
And bye for now. Thank you very much, Eddie.
Cheers. See you later.
And thanks very much to Mother Nathan over there with the baby.
Thanks very much.
It's past bedtime.
It's got to put the baby to bed. Thank you very much indeed for listening, everybody. We hope you enjoyed the podcast as usual. Don't forget, Sunday nights at 7 is where we try and keep the episode so you can remember it. Those who pop in for the live chat when we do the premieres, thank you very much indeed for doing that. For those who supported the podcast and leaving messages and comments, likes, subscribes, whatever, it's all fully appreciated. We love doing this, and we hope that you get the same amount of enjoyment listening to those when they're uploaded at your convenience. All that remains to be saying for Powerful, the guys here, and for the tNb, thank you very much indeed for listening. Take care wherever you are in the world, and hopefully things will improve, and we'll be speaking to you again very, very soon. Take care. Bye for now.